Hello everyone, my name is Monica Anderson and this is my research project for the uncertainty reduction theory and online dating. What is uncertainty reduction theory? URT is the basic process of how we gain knowledge or reduce the uncertainty that we have on people who we meet throughout our lives. If we direct our attention to our textbook, page 69, it reads, attraction or affiliation seems to correlate positively with uncertainty reduction. As communicators find they have things in common, their attraction to one another goes up. The apparent need for more information goes down. In other words, higher levels of uncertainty seem to create distance, but reduced uncertainty tends to bring people together. Often, the behavior of the other person immediately leads to a reduction in uncertainty, and you do not feel the need to get additional information. This is especially true when your involvement with the other person is limited to a particular situation, and you have all of the information you need to understand the person's behavior in that situation. However, under other circumstances, you have heightened need to know. And this directs me to an example that the book discusses on a plumber entering your home. You don't necessarily need to know every little detail about that plumber. You don't need to know, what their home life is like, how many kids they have, if they're even married. However, let's say you have a for rent sign in your window and you have an extra spare room for rent. The plumber might be interested, could be possibly looking for a place to stay. And that process of getting to know one another starts to kick in. You start to ask questions, get to know one another, and your uncertainty about that other person reduces. What is online dating? Online dating is the practice of searching for a romantic partner on the internet, typically via a dedicated website. For example, eHarmony, Tinder, Bumble, there are so many other ones out there. The history of online dating starts back in 1959 at Stanford. There were two Stanford students who were working on a class project when they used an IBM 650 mainframe computer and a punch card questionnaire to match 49 men and 49 women. In 1965, two Harvard students used a questionnaire in an IBM 1401 to match students based primarily on their similarities. In 1995, the World Web became official for many to browse. During that time, dating sites registered their domains. If you love movies, you're probably familiar with You've Got Mail, which starred Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. This it started to enter the realm of, you know, online dating, what else is out there besides, meeting somebody down the road. In the year 2000, Dr. Neil Clark Warren launched the first online dating service we all know as eHarmony. 2004, Facebook was created, social media, and in 2012, swiping left and right was formed. And this is honestly how, if you use an online dating site, this is most likely how you are most familiar with it. You swipe left if you don't like a person, you swipe right if you do. So what's the connection between the two? 1 in 6 marriages begin online, while 38% of online dating users find it difficult to use dating apps to meet other people. Personally, I have seen this, whether it's been with friends or with myself. A lot of times there's people who are looking for other things, whereas, somebody else isn't necessarily looking for that. A lot of it is based on that communication and understanding what the other person wants. Verbal and nonverbal. URT indicates that in the first couple minutes two people meet, there's an awkward silence. Both parties ask themselves questions. What is this person thinking? How are they going to benefit me? That sort of thing. Non-verbally, eyes start to wander. You're standing awkwardly. You're just staring at them. Those are ways to see that nonverbal anxiety starting to kick in, the uncertainty. Asking questions is where, it starts to reduce, and that's where you'll see the verbal communication kick in. An example from our book is Sarah and Rob. I'm going to read you guys this little excerpt. An employer tells two unacquainted employees that they will be working together on a big project for the next 6 months. The individuals stared at each other awkwardly for a few seconds. Each one is thinking the same thing. Does my new working partner have any strange quirks? Will we get along? Will my partner take the project seriously or get us yelled at by the project committee? Finally, the two, Rob and Sarah, begin to chat casually. The first employee, Sarah, finds out that her new coworker, Rob, is from a corporate office in New York and has a big incentive to make sure this project succeeds. However, Rob discovers that Sarah is obsessed with keeping everything in her office in its place, but the aggravation pays off in always knowing where the project files are. So this example offers concepts of the URT and states that people feel uncertain at first, but are motivated to learn more about the other. Liesl L. Sharabi studies. Sharabi did a study. The report is called Online Dating Profiles, First Date Interactions, and the Enhancement of Communication, Satisfaction, and Desires for Future Interaction. This paper offers a wonderful research study that she did. They had 108 participants. They were either given a profile or not. From that study, the interactions through profiles strengthen the effects of eagerness to communicate before face-to-face interactions. However, those that did not have the profile weren't necessarily intrigued. Since online dating has become a known ideal dating option, the platform seems to offer more confidence for those who are unsure on the idea of meeting in person. Many of the articles that I found offered more quantitative approaches compared to qualitative. It did not necessarily matter if there was a profile to go off of or not. A media presence did not necessarily make a difference. Personal experience. You'll see on the screen a picture of me and some random guy, and next to that you'll see a picture of a left hand. My personal experience was I met this guy on Bumble. He seemed really nice. However, he had asked if he could pick me up for our first date. Red flags. I'm like, no, you're not gonna pick me up, because what if I don't like you? How am I gonna get home? I did some quick research. I learned a lot about this guy in a total of 2 minutes, all by using social media and Facebook. However, here we are 2.5 years later, and we are planning a wedding. Online dating works for some, doesn't work for others. And a biblical standpoint. Philippians 4:6-7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. This is a promise to us that we will have inner peace and our anxiety will reduce with uncertainty. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.